Does the endless maze of food labels leave you more confused than enlightened? Many believe reading a food label is as simple as checking sugar content, but I've uncovered a surprising truth about understanding them that doctors often miss. In the United States, grocery aisles are filled with products making all sorts of claims, from healthy to natural, but for someone managing diabetes, knowing what's truly behind those claims is critical. We're not just looking at calories anymore. We're talking about deciphering hidden sugars, understanding fiber's true impact, and recognizing portion sizes that actually matter for your blood sugar. This video breaks down 10 critical tips that transform you from a passive label reader into an empowered food detective. You'll discover how to spot the ingredients that are sabotaging your glucose control and learn what numbers truly impact your health. 1. Serving size and servings per container. The first crucial step in understanding any food label begins with the serving size and servings per container. This might seem elementary, but it's where many people make their first and often largest mistake. A serving size is the standardized amount of food, often expressed in common household measures like cups or pieces, or in metric units like grams. For instance, a bag of chips might list a serving size as 1 ounce, which could be just a handful of chips. The servings per container tells you how many of those individual serving sizes are in the entire package. Here's why this is so vital. All the nutritional information listed on the label, from calories to carbohydrates to sodium, is based per serving. So, if a package of cookies contains 4 servings and you eat the entire package, you are consuming 4 times the calories, 4 times the carbohydrates, and 4 times all the other nutrients listed for a single serving. It's a common oversight that can dramatically impact your daily intake, especially for carbohydrates, which directly affect blood glucose levels. For someone with diabetes, accurately calculating total carbohydrate intake based on actual consumption, not just a single serving, is paramount for effective meal planning and blood sugar management. Ignoring this foundational piece of information means you're operating with an incomplete picture of what you are actually putting into your body. This isn't just about a rough start to your day. It's a direct signal that your overnight glucose levels are not stable. 2. Total carbohydrates versus net carbs. Understanding the difference between total carbohydrates and net carbs is a game changer for many diabetics, and frankly, a point of significant confusion. Total carbohydrates represent the sum of all carbohydrates in a serving, including sugars, starches, and fiber. This is the number you typically use for carb counting when planning meals and adjusting insulin. However, the concept of net carbs attempts to provide a more refined number, often by subtracting fiber and sugar alcohols from the total carbohydrates. The theory is that fiber is not fully digested or absorbed, and thus has less impact on blood sugar. Similarly, some sugar alcohols have a lower glycemic impact than regular sugars. While this sounds appealing, the reality is more nuanced. The definition of net carbs is not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration in the United States, meaning food manufacturers can use varying calculations. Some fibers are partially digestible and can affect blood sugar. More importantly, many sugar alcohols, especially in larger quantities, can still raise blood glucose levels, albeit more slowly, and can cause digestive issues. Relying solely on a net carb count without understanding the specific types and amounts of fiber and sugar alcohols can lead to unexpected blood sugar spikes. It's crucial to prioritize total carbohydrates for carb counting, and then consider the impact of fiber and sugar alcohols with caution and individual experimentation. You've probably heard you should switch to whole wheat bread. For many, this is a mistake. I'll explain the science right after this. 3. Identifying added sugars. Identifying added sugars on food labels is one of the most important skills for anyone managing diabetes. Sugars are notorious for causing rapid and significant spikes in blood glucose. While natural sugars found in fruits and dairy products come with beneficial nutrients like fiber and protein, added sugars provide empty calories with little nutritional value. The challenge is that added sugars go by many names, making them difficult to spot. Manufacturers use over 50 different names for added sugars, including high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, sucrose, corn syrup solids, malt syrup, fruit juice concentrates, molasses, and even seemingly healthier options like agave nectar or honey, which are still added sugars from a blood sugar perspective. A good rule of thumb is to look for ingredients ending in -OSE, which often indicates a sugar. Additionally, if sugar or any of its aliases appear among the first few ingredients on the list, it means that ingredient is present in a high amount. The updated nutrition facts label in the United States now includes a line item specifically for added sugars, expressed in grams and as a percentage of daily value, which is incredibly helpful. This direct labeling removes much of the guesswork. However, even with this improvement, a critical approach is necessary. Aim to minimize foods with high amounts of added sugars, focusing instead on whole, unprocessed foods that naturally have lower sugar content. 4. Fiber content and its types. Fiber is a crucial component of a diabetes-friendly diet, and understanding its role on a food label is essential. Fiber is a type of carbohydrate that the body cannot digest. It passes through the digestive system relatively intact, offering numerous benefits. For diabetics, fiber helps to slow down the absorption of sugar, leading to a more gradual rise in blood glucose levels after a meal. This can significantly improve blood sugar control. Food labels list dietary fiber under total carbohydrates. However, not all fibers are created equal. There are two main types: soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance, which can help lower blood cholesterol and glucose levels. Good sources include oats, beans, apples, and psyllium. Insoluble fiber does not dissolve in water. It adds bulk to stool and helps food pass more quickly through the digestive system, promoting regularity. Whole grains, vegetables, and wheat bran are rich in insoluble fiber. While food labels usually only show dietary fiber, knowing which foods are high in soluble fiber can be particularly beneficial for blood sugar management. Aim for foods with at least 3 to 5 grams of fiber per serving. Increasing your fiber intake gradually is also important to avoid digestive discomfort. If you just had a light bulb moment from that tip, tapping the like button is a free way to support the channel. 5. Fats: saturated, unsaturated, and trans fats. Fats are often misunderstood when it comes to healthy eating, especially for individuals with diabetes. The food label breaks down total fat into saturated fat, unsaturated fat, often a combination of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, and trans fat. While total fat intake is important, the type of fat is far more critical for cardiovascular health, which is a major concern for many diabetics. Saturated fats, often found in animal products like red meat, butter, and full-fat dairy, as well as some tropical oils like coconut and palm oil, can raise LDL, bad cholesterol levels, increasing the risk of heart disease. Trans fats, often created through a process called hydrogenation, are the most harmful type of fat. They not only raise LDL cholesterol, but also lower HDL, good cholesterol, further elevating heart disease risk. Fortunately, due to regulations in the United States and growing consumer awareness, trans fats are much less common in processed foods today. Unsaturated fats, found in olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish, are considered heart-healthy fats. They can improve cholesterol levels and provide anti-inflammatory benefits. When reading a label, aim to minimize saturated and trans fats and prioritize foods rich in monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Even if a product claims 0 trans fats, if it contains partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredient list, it may still contain trace amounts, so always check the ingredients. Does this feel familiar? You've eaten healthy all day, but your evening blood sugar is still high. Let's break down why. 6. Sodium content. Sodium, commonly known as salt, is another critical nutrient to monitor on food labels, particularly for individuals with diabetes who are often at higher risk for high blood pressure and heart disease. The recommended daily intake of sodium for most adults, and especially for those with diabetes or hypertension, is typically around 2,300 milligrams per day, though some medical guidelines suggest even lower, around 1,500 milligrams. However, the average American adult consumes closer to 3,400 milligrams daily, largely due to processed and restaurant foods. High sodium intake contributes to high blood pressure, which places extra strain on the heart and blood vessels. Over time, this can lead to serious complications like heart attack, stroke, and kidney disease. When reading food labels, pay close attention to the sodium content per serving. Be wary of seemingly healthy foods like canned soups, processed meats, frozen meals, and even some breads, which can be surprisingly high in sodium. Look for labels that say low sodium, 140 milligrams or less per serving, or reduced sodium. Comparing similar products is also a good strategy. Often, you'll find significant variations in sodium content between different brands of the same food item. Making conscious choices to reduce sodium intake by opting for fresh, unprocessed foods and preparing meals at home can make a substantial difference in managing blood pressure and protecting cardiovascular health. 7. Ingredient list order. The ingredient list is a treasure trove of information, and its order is far more significant than many realize. Ingredients are listed in descending order by weight, meaning the ingredient present in the largest quantity comes first, and the ingredient present in the smallest quantity comes last. This simple rule provides a powerful insight into the composition of a food product. For instance, if sugar or one of its many aliases is listed as the first or second ingredient, it indicates that sugar is a primary component of that product. Similarly, if whole grains or vegetables are listed high up, it suggests the product is richer in those beneficial ingredients. This is particularly important for diabetics when choosing items like bread, breakfast cereals, or processed snacks. The bread that lists enriched wheat flour as the first ingredient is largely composed of refined carbohydrates, which can cause rapid blood sugar spikes. In contrast, a bread that lists whole wheat flour as the first ingredient is a better choice as it contains more fiber and complex carbohydrates. Understanding the ingredient list order helps you identify hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and processed ingredients, empowering you to make more informed choices that support stable blood glucose levels and overall health. When I'm tracking my meals, this is the app I personally use because of its accurate food library. I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. 8. Percent. Daily value. Percent DV. The percent daily value, or percent DV, is a valuable tool on the nutrition facts label that helps you put the numbers into perspective. The percent DV is based on a 2,000 calorie daily diet, which is a general guideline for many adults. It tells you how much a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to your total daily diet. For example, if a serving of food has 20% of the daily value for saturated fat, it means that one serving provides 20% of the maximum recommended amount of saturated fat for a 2,000 calorie diet. The general rule of thumb for percent DV is 5% DV or less is considered low, and 20% DV or more is considered high. This applies to nutrients like sodium, saturated fat, and added sugars, where a lower percent DV is generally better. For beneficial nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and minerals, a higher percent DV is desirable. While the 2,000 calorie diet is a standard reference, individual caloric and nutrient needs vary based on age, gender, activity level, and specific health conditions like diabetes. Therefore, use the percent DV as a guide, not an absolute target. It helps you quickly identify if a food is a good source of certain nutrients, or if it's high in nutrients you should limit. It's a quick way to gauge the nutritional impact of a food choice. 9. Beware of marketing claims. Food labels often feature appealing marketing claims on the front of the package, but it's essential to look beyond these slogans and dive into the detailed nutrition facts and ingredient list. Terms like natural, healthy, sugar-free, fat-free, or light can be misleading. Natural has no official definition from the FDA and can still contain highly processed ingredients. Sugar-free often means the product contains sugar alcohols, which can still affect blood sugar and cause digestive upset. Fat-free might mean higher sugar content to compensate for flavor. Always verify these claims by examining the nutrition panel and ingredient list. For example, a product labeled sugar-free might have 0 grams of added sugar, but if it has a high total carbohydrate count from refined flours or starches, it can still cause a significant blood sugar spike. Or a healthy snack bar might be packed with added sugars and unhealthy fats. The most reliable way to assess a food's true nutritional value is to scrutinize the full nutrition facts panel and the ingredient list, rather than relying on attractive but potentially deceptive marketing language. This vigilance empowers you to make genuinely healthy choices that align with your diabetes management goals. 10. Understanding nutrient content claims. Beyond the %DV, food labels often include specific nutrient content claims like good source of fiber, high in calcium, or reduced sodium. These claims are regulated by the Food and Drug Administration and have specific criteria that a product must meet to use them. For instance, a good source of claim means one serving provides 10 to 19% of the daily value for that nutrient. High in, or excellent source of, means 20% or more of the daily value. For diabetics, identifying products that are high in fiber or a good source of protein can be beneficial, as these nutrients help with blood sugar stability and satiety. Conversely, understanding claims like reduced sodium means the product has at least 25% less sodium than the regular version. While these claims can be helpful shortcuts, it is always best to double-check the actual numbers on the nutrition facts label to ensure the product truly meets your dietary needs. For example, a reduced sugar product might still have a considerable amount of sugar if the original product was very high. These claims are designed to help consumers quickly identify certain attributes, but a deeper look at the full label is always the most accurate approach to making informed decisions for diabetes management. If you enjoyed this video, you will probably also like this one. Please subscribe to this channel and let us know in the comments your thoughts. Thanks for watching.